I'll just ask you one other question.
Okay.
So look, we're at the United Nations. The whole world is watching on UNWeb TV, pausing for World Basketball Day. What ultimate message would you like to give the world about this game and this day?
In my talk, I credited a few people, Connie, Hawkins, and Elgin, Baylor in particular, with inspiring me, and Bill Russell for extending the hand of friendship in a genuine way and honoring it. And calling me. Every month there were always 2 or 3 calls, and I pick up the phone and he's like, "What's up, Doc?"
He said that.
He said that. I think he stole it from Bugs Bunny, right? Yeah. But that was William. He was just an amazing man, and I think that the cyclical aspect of what the game presents to us, because the previous generation has to, teach the next generation, and then the following generation has to learn from that previous generation, and there's always this strong desire to make the game better, make it more fun, make it more competitive, and so it's ever changing. From the peach basket days, when the bottom of the basket wasn't even cut out, they had to reach in there and take the ball out after they scored, and then somebody said, "Why don't we put a hole in the bottom?" So that was the first bit of progress in basketball. And now why don't we get a real basketball now instead of playing with a soccer ball? So since that 1891 that date, it's continued to expand and also change, and it's changed for the better most of the time, because sometimes some of the rules that get put into place, they don't last. It's like 2 years, that rule's not in there anymore. So you're constantly evaluating it, and it's a good reflection of the cycle of life.
I'll ask you one other question before I open it up, because you mentioned Bill Russell, and I was once listening to a radio show, and Bill Russell was being interviewed by another Hall of Famer named Sonny Hill. It was around the time that a guy named Shaquille O'Neal was impossible to stop. He was just so much physically superior. They didn't know how to stop him. And so Sonny asked Bill Russell, he says, you stopped Will Chamberlain, the Goliath of your day. How would you stop Shaquille O'Neal? And Russell, I'll never forget it, Russell hesitated for a minute, and then he said, "I wouldn't." And Sonny Hill said, "What, you wouldn't? You stopped Will Chamberlain. How? You wouldn't?" He's like, "No." He goes, "I wouldn't. My team would." What's the lesson that Bill Russell was giving everyone with that answer?
That you don't have to be the best player, and the teams that are going to garner the most championships are the better teams, and individual talent. Basketball is a team sport. So, I feel like I can look back on the playoffs against the Portland Trailblazers in 1977. I was the best player on the court, but I didn't have the best team. But we didn't play up to the level of being the best team, and that's why we lost. And the year when we won, clearly we were better than every team in the league, and swept through the playoffs. And had not only we had the best player in Moses Malone, and we had the best team. So sometimes that combination is there, but not always. And there have been many times in which, and even with Bill Russell with 11 championships, there was many times when he was the best player and had the best team. But it's a study of what's right, and right versus wrong, good versus bad, so on and so forth. It's a never-ending argument, and I think it becomes an argument for management. That's where they go through all the analysis and all that kind of stuff. But then the great thing about it is a fans argument. When you see fans who are even in the same family, and one likes Boston and one likes Philly, and whatever, they could be fighting all day, and it doesn't matter to the rest of the world. It just matters to them that they want their team to win.